Hi everyone, this is Paul from the Outdoor Adventure, and today we're going to look at how to fix your Klymit sleeping bag. So I have my Klymit Xlite and I've used it for well over 60 nights, and it's developed a leak, and it was probably related to the fact that I let my kids play with it. So first thing you want to do, of course, your Klymit pad comes with your kit for your patch kit. Now, to find the leak in the first place, you've got to hope that you can see a small puncture or something like that, and if you can't, then you're going to have to resort to the old water trick. So what I recommend is you pump this up completely and give it a good high pressure. Now when you're pumping up this pad, make sure it's not locked. It's pressed down but it's not locked, because this way if you over pump it, then it's going to release any of that extra pressure. So I've already inflated it a bit, and I'm going to pump it up till it's nice and hard, and your next job is going to be to keep it completely submerged in water. Now what I have is a set of light weights that I put across it all and all the different parts to make sure it stays underwater. Now if you're going to do this at home, do not use any water that has soap or other chemicals like that. Any of these chemicals could potentially damage the surface of your sleeping pad and make it leak even worse. So that's the same as well. Once you find the leak, do not mark it with any permanent markers or anything like that, because anything that can cause the fabric to deteriorate is going to make it more prone to leaks if you don't cause a leak immediately. So once you've inflated that, you're going to put that in the bathtub and completely cover it with water, and you're going to watch until you start to see the telltale bubbles coming up. Once you find that leak, find it where it is, you're going to note where it is on your pad. Maybe put a piece of your fingers on the edge of it, or a little piece of tape on the outside, not where where it's inflated, but just have some way of remembering where it is. Usually once you find it, you'll be able to tell where that leak is. And I'm just going to show you, I'm going to overlay that for you so you can see where the leak is. It's very hard to tell, but that's where it is. Now once you've found the leak, dry it out completely, and then you'll be ready for step 2, which is patching it. Alright, so here we are. It's dry. Now before you try to patch it, of course, you're going to have to deflate it, just to make sure that there's no air pressure here at all. Now a good tip before you try to patch something like this is that you make sure the area is very clear. So if it's necessary, take a bit of an alcohol swab or something like that, clean it off. This one's clean as is, so I'm not worried about it. Now the Klymits come with 2 pieces of fabric, one for each side. They're different fabrics. Thicker, heavier duty one on the bottom, a lighter one on the top. So you have to decide based on which side the patch goes on. So here it is right here. Now it's shiny on one side, and that's the adhesive side. Sorry, not adhesive side, but that's where you put the adhesive. And what we're going to do now is we're going to cut out a piece. That's a tiny little hole. I'm going to give a slightly larger space just to make sure that it holds well and it gets a good seal. This is of course another good reason why you should bring a multi-tool that has a pair of scissors when you go backpacking. Now I haven't opened this yet. If you have had to patch your pad before, make sure that before you go on a hike that your adhesive hasn't dried up. So just make sure that there's good adhesive left if you're using an already open container, and that it hasn't dried out completely. Alright, so here we are. I'm going to open this up. Turn the cap backwards, pressure it in, put a pressure in there. Alright. You should be ready now. Make sure the edges don't lift up. You're going to want to make sure that you get all the glue all the way to the edges. Alright. There it is. Now put it on top. It's going to take a second for it to get a good seal, to get tacky enough to stay. So just keep your fingers on there, keep tapping it down so that you can get that completely sealed. You can tell one of my sides is lifting up, so I'm just going to tack it down. There's a bit more. Alright, so as you can see, I had to add some more, and it's not the prettiest thing at all. This backing on the on both pieces is absorbs the glue very quickly, and makes and also just makes it, as a result, curl up. So you've got to be very careful on this. You get to see why you would put some glue on there first, maybe. But you do have to hold it down, and sometimes it doesn't look like it's taking, but if you just hold it down another 30 seconds longer, it'll finally get sticky enough to take. Now I'm just going to leave this because it's patched now, and I'm going to leave it for another couple hours before I try it out, and hopefully at that point it'll be able to try it overnight and make sure it seals. Alright, so now it's been a couple hours since I did this. I'm going to inflate it and I'm going to leave it overnight just to make sure it's patched. Now I've only done it a couple hours because typically if you're on the trail and you're in an emergency and you need to patch your pad, you're not going to have the benefit of having a whole day. You'll probably want to do it in the morning, carry it on the back of your pack for as long as you need, and then pack it away. So I've done that, and we're going to try it out now. Alright, here it is the next day. It's holding up. It's got a nice solid feel to it, and yeah, looks like it took. So straightforward. Not happy with how the material folds over, but when you do give it a bit more, it does stick. So there it is.